My name is Hannah, and this is my year of less stuff. Hey y'all! Hello! Ooh, everything has changed. A little bit of housekeeping before we get into the meat of the video. I moved my office around. So I'm pretty much in the same place. I'm still in my office, which is in the middle of our open concept loft, which is really just a studio apartment in Los Angeles. It's long and skinny, and my office is right in the middle. So before we were looking at the living room and the windows, and now we're facing the rest of the apartment, which is our bedroom basically, and that's where we keep our clothes as well. Objectively, it is not as good of a background, and I'm fully aware of that. So you do not need to go into the comments and say the old background was better, I miss the old background, I liked the old background better. I liked the old background better too. But in every other way in our daily life, and just for the feeling of our apartment and the setup of everything, this is better. It's just way better. My office is more kind of feasible for me in terms of like moving around in it and working in it. It's not as disruptive in our home life. It doesn't take up as much space. And I just wanted to try this for a little while. The one sacrifice that I made is that beautiful background with the plant and the windows. And it might be that after a while I can't stand it and I go back to that or something like that. And I'm sorry that the one sacrifice that I made is the one that affects you guys the most, but it was just time both for a change and for trying like a setup that works better in our day-to-day life, because I'm only on camera like a small fraction of our daily life, and the rest of the time we're living in this space, and this just works better. I promise I am going to try to film an apartment tour soon, especially now that this is done. And when I rearranged my office, I kind of unearthed a bunch of crap that I need to get rid of, and I feel like once I do that, we'll really be ready. And I've been wanting to film it for ages, so this is kind of like maybe also the kick in the pants that I need for that. And then once I do that, you guys will see what I'm talking about. It just makes the whole living space a little bit more fluid and a little bit more open. And I might try to put a plant here. I might even try to put that same plant there. I have to do a little research. It would be about 6 feet further away from the windows than it was before, but it might manage, so we'll see. I'm going to play around with it, and I probably won't stick with this. As you can see, my vanity is right here. Now, I basically moved the filming setup to where the vanity was, and the vanity kind of to the place where the filming setup generally was, although the filming setup was like here, and the vanity in the corner. So I might even like reorient everything so that we're just facing the vanity. The mirror might be an issue. I'll play around with it, but I wanted to at least address it because obviously for you guys, it's a dramatic change. I'm also still sicky. It's really been frustrating. It's like a mild but extremely clingy cold. And so I feel like I'm not at my most chipper, and I still feel a little bit snoggy. My voice isn't at its best, but I really want to get this video filmed. I decided to wrap all of my inventorying up in this video, which is also going to be the video in which I share about my skincare and body care and etc. care inventory, because it ended up being kind of short. I grouped the categories in such a way that it made it kind of short. So I'm going to tell you how much I ended up having when I added up all of my skincare and body care. And then I'm going to add everything up together, and we're going to talk about the total stuff number with which I'm starting the year, how I feel about that, and maybe a little bit of some sort of vague goal setting in terms of whittling down my collection of beautiful things. Let's go ahead and get into the meat of the video. The one potential benefit of this background is that Sadie sleeps on the bed actually more than she sleeps on her little perch in the window. So you might actually have more of a chance at Sadie spotting with this background. And I don't know if you can see her right now because it's so dark back there and she blends into our charcoal bedding, but she's there in frame. Sadie. She's like, why did you wake me up? Do you see her? Okay, let's talk about the skincare, body care, hair care inventory. And kind of like a bunch of other stuff too got thrown into this inventory, just some tools and things that I had lying around that are beauty and self-care types of products that had to be counted because it's my stuff and it's the kind of stuff that I tend to overbuy and tend to kind of overwant, and is the kind of stuff that I feel like is somewhat taking over my life, especially after I counted everything up and added it all together. I was like, Holy bananas. So I ended up counting my skincare not in little groups like moisturizer and acid toner and stuff like that, which is what I kind of did with all of my other things. So in the clothes department, I counted like socks, underwear, bras, because I was kind of interested in how many I had of each thing. I'm not that interested when it comes to skincare. I do have, 5 face oils on my vanity, but to me, I feel like the skincare that I have that's in use on my vanity is its own group, like stuff that is in my current routine or that I am feeling like urgent enough and excited enough about using that I have it actually out. To me, that's just like one thing. It's like what I'm putting on my face right now. And so I counted that group. I called it my in-use skincare. The skincare that's on my vanity, it's right here. This is part of it, what you're seeing right in the corner there, and then the rest is right there. If you want to see it all, then go back and watch my skincare declutter video, because in that video, I decluttered my in-use skincare and I got rid of a lot and I put a lot in my backups box, which I also did count for this inventory. So my in-use skincare on the vanity, the stuff that I ended up with at the end of that declutter, there are 31 items. And I went a little bit back and forth about whether I felt like that was excessive. The number surprised me a little bit. I was like, 30, because I consider it to be my daily use. It's like the skincare that I'm using right now. And I'm not using 31 products at a time, right? Obviously not. In fact, I'm trying to somewhat streamline my skincare routine. I'm trying to make it a bit shorter. But I realized that if you account for the variety in even just a couple of my categories, so all-purpose face oil is like one product to me, like one product category, and there are, I think, 5 of them on my vanity right now. And then exfoliating night treatment type of product, or exfoliating serum, exfoliating toner, that's like, again, one category. I use pretty much one a day, and there are like 4 of them in that category. So if you look at the sort of handful of steps that I'm performing morning and night, and in each step there's 3, 4, 5 products, immediately you can see why there are 31. And things like face oil, I go through quite quickly, and I'm really trying to make it through the products that are on my vanity. I'm having success with making it through those products. I would eventually like to get it down to fewer than that, fewer than 5 or 6 or 7 in that category. There are also some in the backup box. I would really like to have 2 or 3, and then just replace those as I run out of them. Same with exfoliating products. The reason I have 4, in some cases 5 products in each category and rotate among them on a daily or nightly basis is simply because of PR. It's because I've received enough products in PR that I genuinely like and want to keep putting on my skin, that instead of 1 toner, I have like 3 that I'm rotating among, because I didn't have to buy them myself. If it were my dime, if it were my purely beauty budget accounting for skincare, I would be picking 1 in each category, maybe 2 in certain categories like face oils. And I do have this ideal of myself as getting down to that situation. And I'm not sure whether that's going to mean that lots of stuff stays in the backups box if I continue to receive a lot of PR this year, or if that's going to mean that I get rid of PR as it comes in instead of keeping it, or if it doesn't make sense to cling to that kind of semi-minimalistic ideal of myself when I'm someone who has the chance to try more of a variety of products that might actually be good for my skin without having to pay for them myself. I might just get to a point where I accept that because I'm lucky enough to be on the receiving end of PR, it's okay for me to have 25 or 30 things sitting on my vanity instead of like the 10 or 12 that represent the routine that I actually go through. I'm not sure. This year will tell the tale. It's kind of like the information that I'm searching for in myself about what I actually want. Needless to say, I felt both a little bit surprised and then also kind of really understanding of this number of 31 things that are sitting on my vanity. And it also doesn't feel like huge to me. Like they just take up a normal amount of space to me, for me. They're not spilling off and overflowing like they were before the declutter. So it doesn't seem like there are 31 there. I would maybe like to get it down to 20 in some way. Like I would in some way, whether it's by putting some things back in the backups box or using things and not replacing them yet, I kind of would like to have about 20 things sitting on the vanity. So I also counted my in-use hair products, the things that are literally sitting on my vanity that are my current go-to products for my hair. And those are treatment products. So not shampoos and conditioners and masks. Those are all in the bathroom. I'm talking now about my vanity. There are 5 in-use hair products sitting on my vanity, and there's like a dry shampoo and a texturizing spray and a hair powder and a beach spray. It's like that kind of thing. So there's basically one of each kind, but and a hair oil, that's the last one. So those are the 5 types of products. I have one of each of them sitting on my vanity, and I'm making my way through those. There are some more in the backups box, so I'll be able to replace some of those categories as I go through them. So that's what's on my vanity in terms of skincare and hair and body care. Then I went to my bathroom and I started counting stuff. In my bathroom, I did not declutter as intensively before the beginning of this year as I did what was on my vanity and in my vanity in terms of skincare and makeup. So when I went to count it, I found that it was rather bloated and there was sort of some scrappy stuff scrapping around that I didn't really want anymore. And so I counted everything, and then forthwith I got rid of some stuff. And you'll be able to see that at the end of the month when I show you my stuff in and stuff out count. There's a whole slew of little check marks on my stuff out column that is a result of me just being like, I don't need all this stuff in my bathroom, and taking care of it right after I did the count. So that was really interesting. I know that some of you following along at home have had that experience as well, that just counting makes you suddenly ravenous for kind of a bit of a cleanse. And that definitely happened in the bathroom. I counted face skincare in the bathroom as its own category. Those are cleansers, oil cleansers, balm cleansers, soap cleansers, and I think masks as well. I pretty much keep all of my masks in the bathroom except for sheet masks. Oh, but that reminds me. Yes, I counted the in-use sheet masks separately. I just put them lower down on the list. So in my drawer, I have 16 sheet masks that are on deck, and those are extra to the 31 products that are sitting on top of my vanity for skincare. But other kinds of masks, cream masks, scrubs, treatments, those kinds of things, I keep all of that in the bathroom because I tend mostly to use those kinds of products in the bath. And if they're scrubs, I will use them in the shower. So there were 19 face skincare products just bumbling around in my bathroom. It was kind of a mess in there. I really went on a rampage and like decluttered and organized everything actually this weekend. It was great. But I had 19 at the beginning of the year. And then bathroom hair care, this is a bit of a shocker. I was looking and looking and looking, and initially I thought there were only 2 products, just one shampoo, which is almost finished, and one conditioner. And I was like, wow, I just have one shampoo and one conditioner after all that, after my whole year of receiving PR and my whole year of, you know, being on a beauty budget and being allowed to buy stuff. I just the one shampoo and the one conditioner. And I had been working through shampoos and conditioners really since before my no-buy year. I finally got down to what I want, which is just to have one shampoo. I don't even need a conditioner. When I use this one up, that'll be it. But then I kept looking and I found that I also had 2 hair masks. One is like just a one-time use like wrap mask thing, which maybe I'll do tonight because I need to wash my hair and it is feeling a little bit dry. So there's that. And then I also have this like, it's like a mud texturizing mask in a pouch that also serves as a shampoo. So when I use up my Amika Sexture shampoo, which is the one that I have, I'll also then use up that like mud mask shampoo thing, and then I will be in the market for an actual shampoo. I'll probably try to buy my one from IGK, my 1995 shampoo, the shampoo and texturizer in one. It'll be my first sort of legal, within my rules, chance to buy a shampoo since before my no-buy year, because I've just had shampoos to use up ever since then. So that was exciting to find that I only have 4 bathroom hair care, like hair washing products. That to me seems reasonable. Like that's the kind of life I want. I already am there with my bathroom hair care. It's exciting. Body care, however, out of control. I counted 32 body care, like pieces of bullshit, like pieces of body care bullshit in my bathroom. And so this counts tooth care, bath care. So I counted each individual. I have a little bowl with a couple of bath bombs that I received in PR and a couple of like bath soak float things. I counted each of those individually. That's part of why the number is so high. Each little bath bomb, each little bath melt individually. I counted my new toothbrush, my old toothbrush, which I somehow hadn't thrown away yet. I did that forthwith, but I counted them both because I had them both at the beginning of the year. This also included things like bug spray that I have squirreled away in there, sunscreen for the beach, like spray on body sunscreen for if I ever go hiking or go to the beach. And then it included every little like hotel lotion and body lotion that's come in PR that I haven't managed to use because I'm not really a lotion user. All of those kinds of things, anything that was for the body in any way, including tooth care, I counted all of that. So that's part of why the number was so high, but it's still too high for someone who doesn't really use lotion that much and only needs one toothbrush. Like, what was I doing? So 32 altogether, that was pretty hefty. That was the biggest number, I think. Oh no, the next one is the biggest number, the backups box. So apart from what's in my backups box, which is a whole bunch of types of things all together, that number, the body care in the bathroom group, that was the highest number. And that's ridiculous to me. It's definitely not the number. It's definitely not the category that I feel enough invested in for it to have been the biggest number. That really showed me something. That is a category on which I need to keep a close eye. I mean, maybe the bath bombs. Like, I understand me having like a lot of bath salt or a lot of bath bombs if they come my way. That's not something I really want to pay a lot for. When I buy something like that, I buy a big bag of Epsom salts. If bath bombs come my way in PR, I will gladly take them because I love me a luxurious bath. But it just adds up too quickly for it to be worth my budget with where I'm at right now with my priorities and my lifestyle, et cetera, et cetera. But that's a category I could see myself collecting because I do go through it. But everything else, the lotions, the extra toothpastes, like, no, that's garbage. So then I counted what's in my backups box. And it's so full of skincare that I theoretically want to try. It's pretty much all stuff that came in PR in one way or another or was given to me by friends who also receive PR. There are 16 sheet masks in there too, kind of like backup sheet masks that I am not keeping in my drawer because they're not on deck. I also do dip into the sheet masks in my backups box when I want to give sheet masks away. I don't really keep them in my giveaway box, but a lot of times when I'm putting together a package for someone, I'll pull some sheet masks out of my backups box. So they're kind of on deck in the backups box to either be used by me or be given away. But either way, they are my belongings. I've chosen to keep them. They count in the inventory. So there's 16 of those. And then there are 71 other items. 71 items of skincare in the backups box. That adds up to be 87 items that I'm keeping as backups of hair care, body care, skincare, etc., that I'm theoretically going to cycle into my in-use group of products when I use up stuff that I'm using. It's too much. That's too much to even be keeping as backups. And it immediately made me want to declutter the backups box and just give some of that stuff away, donate it. Send it to Project Beauty Share, donate it to a women's shelter, give it to some of my friends. I like the idea of keeping backups because I like the idea of keeping my in-use products curated and then having things that I do still want to try that came in PR but that I'm just not ready to crack into yet because I don't like having them all over out of control, all half open, half finished. I mean, not half open, all open, half finished and going bad and I can't use them all. Like that, I would rather just like cycle them in bit by bit. But there has to be a limit to how much I decide to actually keep in reserve. And I think I'm beyond that limit. So I counted 87 belongings in the backups box, and it's on my list of things to do this month or next month to go through and just curate even that. So then the last category was other stuff. And this included tools like my Clarisonic. I actually might have counted the toothbrushes in this category. I have 2 like zippered travel pouches that I use when I'm traveling for makeup and skincare, and I counted those 2 travel bags in this category. All of my brow dyeing tools, the little containers of dye and the mixing stuff and the box of little pills full of powder, and then the little bowl that I use and the brush that I use. So like everything that's in the bathroom and even out here that I hadn't counted yet, just like random business that I use for self-care. All of that added up to 29 items. Out and about, in use, in theory, I counted 136 items. That's everything that's in the bathroom that's mine, plus everything that's skincare and hair care that's out on or in my vanity. And then the backups box contained 87 items for a total of 223 things. That is ridiculous, if only on the premise of things spoiling. Like skincare, especially open skincare and hair care, I don't know how good it stays, for how long. You just cannot use up that much stuff in a year, even. In theory, I just wouldn't need to buy anything in any of these categories for a year, except if it's something like shampoo where I like genuinely only have one and I don't have any in my backups box. So, I would have to like buy a product if I ran out of it and I didn't have another product like that. But I don't want it to be like that. I don't want to have like a full year or 2 years worth of products in every category just hanging out waiting for me to use them. In theory, it's healthy, financially healthy, right? Because then it means that I don't have to buy any, physical exfoliants or chemical exfoliants or moisturizers or anything like that. But I'm not in a position where it's going to make such a huge impact on my finances that I don't have to buy, for example, a night moisturizer, especially because at this point I've done enough research and experimentation with inexpensive and still effective skincare that I can buy products that I really love and that will work really well for me myself with my own money without breaking the bank, without running out of my budget. So I could buy that Derma E vitamin E nighttime moisturizer that I really love. I could buy the Body Mary retinol cream that I really love. And if I need to replace my own retinol or if I need to replace my own moisturizer, it's just going to cost me $10, $20. I have budgeted for that. It's in my budget. And so it's almost like I'm feeling like I'm at a point where I would rather pay that amount of money that's reasonable, especially for how long the products last for me and affordable for me, than pay in the amount of space that all of the backup stuff is taking up. Not just the backups box, but all the extra stuff that's swimming around. I would rather have my space and have my clarity and then have to pay to replace things a little bit once in a while. At the same time, I want to try a lot of the skincare that's in the backups box. I want to review it. I want to experience it. And I also appreciate that it's there. And I do like trying luxury things. And I like the opportunity to try things that I can't afford or that I wouldn't buy myself. So those are the two poles. There are these like strong arguments for getting rid of everything, all the backups, and replacing everything that I would want to replace with the things that I can afford, that I know that I want to use just one by one and having my life be really streamlined. But then there's strong arguments for keeping at least some of what's in the backups box and keeping some of what will inevitably come in PR this year and reviewing it and applying it to my skin and enjoying it. There are strong arguments for both. So it's going to be an interesting journey towards like a happy medium, especially when it comes to things like skincare and hair care, which I tend to not only make use of, but actually use up. I think when it's something unlike makeup, with makeup, it's different. If I choose to keep a lipstick that came in PR, I'm like keeping one more thing. With skincare, if I choose to keep a face oil that came in PR, I'm just tangibly, concretely preventing myself from having to buy a face oil somewhere down the line. So in terms of the financial impact for me, it's much more concrete when it comes to this category. But at the same time, 223 things is too much. I would love to finish the year with under 100 items in this category across the board. That includes the backups box and everything that's in the bathroom. I would even love to finish with like less than 70, 75. I could even see myself down to 50 and still like fully stocked, So yeah, it'll be really interesting. Okay, let's move on to counting up all of the numbers of everything, which I did. I did it. It's a lot, y'all. It's a little bit of a shocker. I thought that I wasn't going to have more than 1,000 things in these three categories combined when I started counting with my makeup. And even the first time I counted my makeup and I counted all of my single shadows as each individually items. So that added 151 items to my stuff number for makeup because I have 151 single shadows. So even though I had 431 items in my makeup, and that's, almost 500, it's almost half of 1,000, I still was like, I'm sure that I have way less than this for clothes and skincare and stuff. I probably will have something like 800. That was what I thought. When I counted my makeup and then I estimated, I was like maybe 850 is going to be my overall stuff number. But if I count 431 as my makeup stuff number, that's counting all the single shadows individually, Then I added my clothes and accessories and shoes and everything in that sort of like garments and perfume and jewelry, things I put on my body. That was 383 altogether. And if I add in my skincare, etc., body care, hair care, 223, then the total is 1,037 items. So I just topped 1,000 items if I'm counting everything absolutely individually, including the single shadows. What's interesting is that if I do that slight shift where I talked about how I just wanted to see what my makeup collection would add up to if I were estimating my single shadow collection through the lens of it being palettes. So if you count those 151 singles as 10 eyeshadow palettes of 15 shadows each, which is kind of like an average number for eyeshadow palettes, then that drops my makeup inventory down to only 290. And that drops the overall stuff number down to 886. So not that far off from what I had estimated. But those are kind of like the two numbers I'm holding in my head. I really do think of my single shadows as individual items of makeup. That's the way that I buy them. That's the way that I choose to keep them. More than half of the ones I own, maybe a vast majority, came in PR, the single shadows that I currently own. So it's not like I bought each and every one of them individually. And if I had never received PR, my single shadow collection would be so much smaller. There's no way that I would have 150 single eyeshadows if I hadn't received like 14 of the Cliona shadows and almost all of the Adept shadows. You know what I mean? Like I've got a lot of PR single shadows, and not just PR, but gifts. A lot of you, back when I was receiving subscriber gifts in the mail, a lot of you sent me a large number of single shadows, and those bloated my collection of single shadows too. So the vast majority of my single shadows I didn't buy, is all that I'm saying, but I did choose to keep each one, and I do think of each one as being like a piece of makeup. So to me, the most faithful number is that my stuff number is 1,037. What? It's like, what? And you should see our space. I mean, when I do the apartment tour, it'll be partly to show you that we live not in like a shoebox by any means, but in a small, I mean, compared to like the American dream or like the average American, you think of people living in these like homes, multi-room homes where there's a basement and an attic and like a, multiple bathrooms and all that stuff. Like it is the opposite of that, what we live in. And so to think that there are 1,000 things in this apartment that are mine, that I brought here, that I've like placed into our home, that I use just to adorn myself, just to put on my woman costume every day and to play and to express myself and to feel good. I mean, I'm not against it. You guys know that I'm like a champion of beautiful things. And I think that a deep love of beauty in the world and a deep love of beautiful things is something to be celebrated. I think that it is a kind of superpower. There's nothing wrong with loving beautiful things. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. However, I don't personally want to have 1,000 things in this little studio apartment with Joe that I'm accounting for, that are mine. And I don't think that I can use 1,000 things in a way that does them service, that kind of does them justice this year. And I know that more things are coming into my life. There are things I want to buy. There's makeup that I want to buy that I'm probably going to buy. There are clothes I want to buy and I want to make room for them, but I want to make like 5 times more room for them than there currently is. So if I'm going to bring something into my life, I want to make room for it by getting rid of like a lot of things that are similar to it in nature and other things too. I just have too much stuff, and that's why this is my year of less stuff. So if you're someone who feels like it was unduly burdensome for me to count my single shadows each individually as one, then think of my stuff number, if you're trying to think of it just visually in terms of how much space it probably takes up and just like how it feels to have it around, think of my stuff number as being 886 or like almost 900. I'm going to think of it as being in a little bit over 1,000. And here's where I'm going to go out on a super limb, and I just want to say for the record, loud and clear, that I'm not holding myself to this, and I don't want you guys to hold me to this. There's nothing, it's very, very hard to talk abstractly about your goals and hopes for yourself and your guesses about how your life might go on the internet, because in real life when we talk about that stuff, it's always just an estimate. It's always just a guess. And the way that we go in our lives, especially those of us who are trying to be like gentle with ourselves and understanding and loving and trying to make our like be happy and be joyful and have a good life instead of have this like punished life of like strictures and shame. Like, the way that we go is like you hope and you set goals and you dream and you think you might want it to be a certain way, and then you just find your way, and sometimes it doesn't end up going that way. But if you're on the internet talking about it, then people are so vicious about throwing it in your face what you said you wanted, what you said you thought you wanted for yourself. We have contradictory impulses. Like, humans have contradictory impulses. I want less stuff, but I also want a new foundation stick that I want to test. Both things are true. Both things can be true. We're not like one-dimensional. We're not robots. We're complex, and that's what makes human existence so fascinating and so joyful. All of this is just to say that right now, at a glance, in sort of an abstract way, I kind of would like to cut my stuff number in half. Like, I can't imagine that I wouldn't be happy with 500 beautiful things, adding all the categories together. So skincare, body care, everything that's in the bathroom, all of my clothes, and all of my makeup. My guess is that it's the skincare, body care, hair care group that could take the biggest hit. Like, I could get down to just a couple in each category, and yeah, like I said, get down to 50. I could cut a good 150 out of there, or more, almost 200 out of there, and still really be like doing what I'm doing. I don't know if I want to do that. Again, that's why I'm really trying to be very fluid with, I'm not saying that I'm setting the goal of cutting it in half, because I could be wrong. It could be that as I start whittling and shaving away at my things and passing PR along without opening it and, you know, decluttering, it could be that I get down to something like 700 overall, 600, and I suddenly feel like, wow, I can't really stretch my wings when I'm going to put on my makeup in the morning in the way that I used to be able to. For me, as a beauty guru and as like someone who tests makeup and who uses it as a creative outlet, not for just like anyone, but for me, I might get to a point where I'm like, wow, I don't feel like I have the options that I used to have, the variety, and it just doesn't feel as good as it used to. That I could also see that happening with clothes, and maybe that will happen with skincare and body care too. I don't know, but it would be cool if I could cut my stuff number roughly in half. It would be cool if I could get down to 500 or as close to 500 things overall over the course of this year. And if that doesn't happen, if I end the year with 800 or something as my stuff number, I won't be disappointed in myself. And I'm talking about if I'm counting all my single shadows individually. So if I'm starting with 1,037, getting down to something like 800, 700, you know, that'll be a significant reduction. What do you guys think? Has anyone been doing this? Is anyone like literally doing this, like following along, counting absolutely everything, adding it all up? If you have done that and you've gotten to the point where you have your total stuff number, like in all three categories, I would love to know what it is. Even if you put one number as your comment and don't even write anything, but just put your one number, we'll know that in this comment section that's what that is. It's your total stuff number. I'm very, very curious. I'm glad that I brought up the idea of like people who live in homes with like multiple rooms and multiple bathrooms and basements and all of that stuff, because one of the things that interests me is that I think if we lived in a bigger space, if I had more space, I think I would have way more stuff. I think I just wouldn't have decluttered as consistently and as naturally if I had a bigger closet or if I had more space in the bathroom, because I don't really have that much. If I had a whole beauty room, you know what I mean? I would probably have thousands of things. And I feel like 1,000's too many for me in any situation, but especially because we live in such a small space. But I'm curious about those of you who live in homes, like in homes with several bedrooms. If you have like kids and you live in suburbia or in the Midwest, or if you live somewhere rural and you have more space to relax into, so you don't feel this sense of being like pinched for space. Like I kind of feel I want more space than I have now. I want more space around me. I have all this stuff around me and I want space around me. But if I lived in a bigger space, I could have more stuff around me and I would still have more space around me than I do right now. So I just wonder like how much of this feeling about my stuff number is being dictated by my space. And I wonder, I've just been thinking about relativity when it comes to like space and stuff and lifestyle and what we want for ourselves and all of this stuff. So I've been loving hearing what you guys have to say about this project so far, especially those of you who have been following along in any way or participating. And I'm very curious about your perspectives when it comes to like the overall end stuff number. And when you look at that in the context of someone's like lifestyle and someone's relationship with beauty and beautiful things, relationship with his or her or their own like body and the way that they present themselves. You know, some of us, I feel like, get a lot out of putting on this woman costume or this glamour costume or this person costume, whatever it is. There's some of us get something out of it that's ineffable, and that's actually really important. So again, I'm not against it. It's just you know, some of us need more to do that than others, and my journey is towards finding how much I need to do that for me. It's not universal. It's like, how much do I need? How much of this stuff do I need to do that, to perform that function for myself, to make myself happy, to make myself feel good, and also to have the space around me that I want to have. So that is what I'm doing this year, starting with my stuff number of 1037, shaving away at it. I've already sent a lot of stuff out after counting, especially I got rid of a couple sweaters, a couple pairs of shoes. I'll go over it in my check-in at the end of the month, but some stuff has also come in. I did indeed place an order to replace pretty much all of my bras. So I got rid of like more than half my bra, almost all of my bras, but then I replaced about half of the ones that I had gotten rid of. So my overall bra number has shrunk. My functional bra number has risen by quite a number. Anyway, we'll go over all of that at the end of the month. That's like check-in material. And for now, that is it. Thank you so much for watching this weird, totally bizarro world set up with the new background version of one of my videos. I know that I'm still kind of snoggy. I'm hoping I will kick it soon, and I'm hoping that I'll be back soon with just some regular videos, like maybe an anti-haul or something. What do you think? I'm hoping to get back on the wagon, filming more videos soon. And for now, I hope that you are remembering to take extra good care of yourself so that you can be the most effective version of yourself as you do your work in the world.